Afternoon, folks. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters and the Pathfinder School. What I thought we'd do today is we would start a new series on four-wheeler camping. Lots and lots of people camp off four-wheelers, different types of RTVs, ATVs, and things like that all the time. And it's something that's not covered very well, I think, on YouTube. And it's not discussed too much on some of the platforms that I'm on Facebook and things like that, different pages and groups. But I think it's something that's very relatable to most people, because not a lot of people are going to walk 5, 6, 7 miles into the wilderness to camp. And if they can drive something like an ATV into that wilderness or into that back trail area, then they can also carry more comfort items with them to make their stay more enjoyable. And I think that happens more than it's proposed to happen, at least on a place like YouTube. So what I want to do is I want to start a short series on that. And I thought what we do first is, we can look at the ATV or the four-wheeler in its totality and look at all the kit and the way it's kitted out. But I really kept this thing as simplistic as possible. I started with a Polaris Sportsman's 400, and it's an affordable four-wheeler. This is a used four-wheeler that's probably 8 or 10 years old. I think this is a 2018, maybe something like that, if I remember right, 2018, 2017. So it's several years old, not to get specific, but it's got a lot of miles on it. It's never let me down. It's pulled vehicles out of the mud that were twice the size of it, uphill, as a matter of fact. So it has done its job for me very well, and it's never broken down on me to the point where regular maintenance wouldn't fix the problem. So this is the vehicle that I'm choosing to use for this demonstration over the next few videos. And I drive this vehicle quite a bit. It's the one I use here at the school all the time. Use it during the traffic season as well. So I trust it. And I have kitted it out to do things for me up to and including camping, but just for everyday use as well. So what I wanted to do was, instead of trying to cover everything all at once, what we would do is we kind of start with the front end here and start with the compartment and go from there. Now you notice on the front end of this, right off the bat, there's no winch. I'd like to get a winch for this one of these days, and I probably will. At this point, I carry a block and tackle system in the back compartment to cover those things if it gets stuck. And most of my trail clearing equipment is with some of my camp gear in the front. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of start with this front compartment today and talk to you about that, and then kind of go from there. Now, first thing that should be said with any ATV or off-road vehicle is you should have the proper safety equipment to operate that vehicle. And I have a set of goggles and I have a helmet right here that I keep with it all the time. So now, let's open up this front compartment and talk about what I have in here for trail clearing, camping, and things like that. And then we'll move down through the back of the vehicle as we go. And eventually, we're going to take this out and do an overnighter camping from the vehicle. Stay with me, guys. Okay, so one of the things I like about this Sportsman 400 is it has a large compartment here in the front that you can store quite a bit of stuff in. And it's got two connections here to hold it down when you're driving, obviously, and not let it come open. And then it opens forward and gives you a storage space. So let's look at that storage space. So I thought what we'd do is kind of take this one side at a time, and we'll just go from top to bottom. So in the top of this thing, 3 main tools I carry in here all the time. I have a Woodsman's wedgie in here. It's already on the handle. I can't tell you how underestimated this tool is for busting up firewood and things like that in camp. It's a pleasure to use, and it's really simple. And man, it goes through wood like you wouldn't believe it. Now, I also carry a cold steel shovel and a Silky Big Boy. And again, both for camp tools and for clearing trail. Work equally as well for both. Digging out a stuck four-wheeler, things like that, recovery, but also for camping. They stay in here all the time. I've got a short piece of heavy cordage in here just for utility. I have a spare pair of thin leather gloves in here, not the ones I was wearing today, but a pair of thin leather gloves for around camp for days when it's warmer and I'm not wearing gloves when I'm driving the four-wheeler itself. I have a spare shemagh. I have a Helicon Tech poncho, a spare Moore companion, a bottle of bug spray, and several chunks of spare paracord, just extra utility cordage. It drops in the bottom very easily. I don't have to worry about it. So all of that stuff basically is stored on this side and the top. And then we will walk over to the other side and look at that as well, so that you can see what's kept on the other side of the vehicle. Now on the other side, a couple pretty simple things. There's a ditty bag here, which we'll talk about in just a minute. There's a can of fuel in here, a brand new can of fuel for a stove. A large water bladder. This is a 6-liter water bladder. And when you have a vehicle and you can afford to carry more things, a water bladder like this that you can take up to camp after you've collected water and filter from is very, very convenient. It folds up really small, fits in here easy, gives me 6 liters of water in camp. Fire starting. I've got some Yuko Titan waterproof matches, a Bic lighter, and a ferro rod. 3 ways to start fire, 3 ignition sources right here in the vehicle all the time. And then I have a can of Mini Inferno in here for instant gratification. Hit it with anything and it's going to start up a flame and give you flame for about 6 minutes for marginal kindling sources, things like that, where you might have a damp bird nest or some damp kindling. Having that open flame gives you a big advantage. So let's talk about this ditty bag real fast. And look at that, okay? I say ditty bag because it has a lot of different things in it. Most of them are related to food and water. In fact, I think all of them are actually. So I have a stove in here and a windscreen that goes on top of that fuel canister. I have just some different varieties of food in here, from hot chocolate mix to stowaway gourmets. Anything that I had spare, I just threw it in here. I've got a couple Pathfinder meals in here. I've got a Wag bar in here. Just some extra goodies in there for the trail. I've got a Kopeka coffee in there too. Just things that I might want in an overnight camping trip. I have a Sawyer filter in here that plugs into the front of that water bladder so that I can then filter that water before it goes into my bush pot. A set of military utensils. And really the rest of that stuff down in there is just extra food. There's another meal in there, another Wag bar, a couple more things of chocolate, a couple more things of Kopeka coffee. And those are the things that I store in here, and I just leave them in here so that nothing else, even an unplanned camping trip or some type of an emergency, I have some food in here all the time. Ways to disinfect water, ways to start fire, and things like that. And also a stove if I can't start fire so that I can cook food or disinfect water if I need to. Although, like I said, I do carry a filter in here as well. So I'm carrying lots of backups to backups, but I have the affordability to do that because I have a machine to carry them in, like this 4-wheeler. And then again, always in the front, you have a saw, some extra cordage, heavy duty, a shovel, and a woodsman's wedgie. And all of that stuff pretty much lays flat in there, and you can just close it right up. Now, just with this front end peripheral gear, I always have a 2-quart military canteen right here on the side thrown over the handlebars. Basically look at that as the Cowboys canteen thrown over the saddle horn. Same type thing. It's just always there. It's always got water in it when I need it on the trail. And if I want to get more specific to cook and things like that, back here. And then I've also got, obviously, metal cookware and things that we'll talk about when we get further back on the vehicle in the next video. Okay, so again, we're just talking about the front of the vehicle at this time. And the things that are kept in the front of that vehicle all the time can assist me in trail clearing, give me lunch. They can help me filter water and gather water if I need to. They could build an emergency shelter if they had to. Again, start fire if I need to, but I've also got a stove there if I need it. And then tools, peripheral tools for clearing trail, recovery, making camps, things like that. And then safety gear for the vehicle and some water. And as we move back, we'll talk about other things that are with the vehicle all the time and other things that we just add as needed. So I appreciate you guys' views today, and I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, and for our business, all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. And I'll be back with another video in this series as soon as I can. I do have a class this weekend again. I have classes pretty much back to back right now for the next 5-6 weeks in a row. I've had them for the last 2 or 3 or 4 weeks in a row. So right now is my busiest season, but I'll try to get some videos out as I can. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my videos, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.